I'm drawn to people who have lived a lot of life.
Mm,
I just think there's so much compassion that comes with struggle. Um, every loss I've been through, every struggle I've triumphed over has made me a better person, a more compassionate person, a kinder person. Losing my dad to pancreatic cancer changed me in huge, huge ways. Losing my best friend when I was 16 changed me in so many ways. Like every hard thing I do makes me a more compassionate, grounded, kind human being. And I'm drawn to people who have that like wisdom of hard experience. When you lose someone you love, when you battle illness, you
yes.
realize tomorrow is not promised. And I think that people are grounded in gratitude, their feet are on the ground, who truly realize today is all we actually have. Those are my people, right? Like savor every second because tomorrow is not promised. And I think once you go through hard stuff, you know how true that is. And I'm drawn to people who know how true that is. I'm Meaghan Murphy, the executive editor of Good Housekeeping, and you're at my house. Come on in.
I am over the moon, Megan Murphy, to be talking to you this afternoon. And thank you so much for joining Coming from the Heart podcast. Megan, you should really take it away because I'm sure people obviously know who you are as the editor-in-chief of Women's Day. There we go. Over 90 plus years of publication. You are a celebrity, although moments ago you go, no, I'm not, but I think you are a celebrity-like person. You've been on talk shows like Jenna and Friends and so forth and so on. And you wrote a whole book, Your Fully Charged Life, which I didn't put down. And I said moments ago, I was making excuses about the rain because I'm down here in South Jersey and I left my book up in North Jersey in my apartment. So I'm going to pretend to hold up the book. But I loved your book. I love your energy. I feel like you're this energizer person, but not maybe always. So welcome to the podcast, Megan. How are you today?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Well, thanks. And just, I love your background about books. Were you always a book person? Did you like to read?
Yeah, well, my mom was an English teacher and has her master's in education. And so like reading was very fundamental in my childhood. I was always reading and definitely always writing. And I won a number of essay contests throughout the years so that my work was validated often. And so it just really kind of made me like a voracious reader and writer.
I love that. Oh, guess what? My mom was a reading recovery teacher down here in South
Oh, okay.
Jersey.
Yeah.
Yes, I grew up with educators. I went to school for applied linguistics and English. So I am very in sync to what you're talking about. I didn't go off to school for journalism. I actually went off to school for textile design, but
Yeah.
writing and creativity was absolutely a large part of my life. So question, let's dive in. Where'd you go
Sure.
to school?
I
Where'd
went
you?
to Rutgers.
Oh,
I studied acting with Mason Gross, and I also have a degree in
oh.
English. So I've like, sort of studied English and acting.
I love that. Well, my daughter, are you? Here we go. My daughter graduated as a genetics major. So main campus, New Brunswick is, well, yeah, Mason Gross,
Well,
right?
I was at Mason Gross. My husband is a Rutgers grad. My brother, my sister, my dad, my late father got his master's there. My mom did her master's there. We're kind of a really big Rutgers family. My two nephews play lacrosse
Ah,
there now. My other
cool.
nephew just signed on to play lacrosse there. My husband played lacrosse there. My brother played lacrosse there. So we're a real
Wow.
Rutgers family.
Wow. So do you go to the Rutgers game? Are you into the basketball, football?
We are into the lacrosse. We go to every
Ah,
lacrosse game.
I
We're a
love
lacrosse
that.
family.
You're a lacrosse family. Okay. When I was teaching at Stevens, lacrosse was really big there. I think they maybe
You know
played or
that my
something.
other nephew just signed to play lacrosse at Stevens and he'll go there in 2 years.
Stop it. Okay, so now I understand when I was flipping through Instagram, and this is just goes beyond the book. This is like a New Jersey vibe or something like that. Like you're sitting on my porch, we're taking a walk on the beach. What beach do you go to? You're talking about your mom down in Long
My
Branch.
mom's in Long Branch, so we go to Seven Presidents. I'm a total, I like beat my chest and say Jersey, like I'm a
Oh my
Jersey
God.
girl.
Wow. So you haven't ventured out of the state much.
No,
No.
I mean, I love to travel, but I've never
I
lived
love it.
outside of New Jersey.
I love it. Okay, so let's go back to reading and let's go back to, it's interesting how when you're a child, let's talk about a little bit about your, childhood and your journey and reading and connecting and stuff like that. As your mom, as an, English teacher, she was an English teacher, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, she was an English
Okay.
teacher.
So were you like one of the kids that was like at the library getting the books? Like what type of like what am I trying to get to? Like what type of literature did you look towards when you were a kid?
I mean, my favorite books were Charlotte's Web and Alice in Wonderland. I
Love
loved
it.
Lewis Carroll. There were so many fun little nuggets that I would quote from him.
Okay.
And I also just loved creating. I made my own cards. I called them mega cards. And like fun and punny messages and drawings. I really loved to come up with my own stuff. I was always writing little stories and essays. Um, it was just something like it was just a very natural part of my existence.
Okay. Okay. I'm trying to build a storybook here because okay, I'm a teacher, educator. I'm trying to get the story going. Okay. So so as you were proceeding in your journey, so you went to Rutgers. What happened after Rutgers? Where did you do? You were in journalism.
Well, I didn't really study journalism, so I worked my way through college. So I didn't have a very typical college experience. When I was a senior in high school, I won an essay contest. I was named a Horatio Alger National Scholar. I had
Wow.
written an essay. I had some tumultuous teen years. I had an eating disorder. My best friend died. And I wrote a very powerful essay about moving through that tragedy. And I was kind of highlighted on a NBC special that Bob
Wow.
and Don Johnson hosted and Trisha Yearwood performed. And because of that, I got a lot of attention when I was a senior in high school. And I got $10,000 for college and I got all
Wow.
this attention. And then places like YM Magazine were approaching me saying, we want to tell your story. And I was like, well, that's great, but I'll write it myself. I'll tell my own story. And so that translated into an internship, which quickly translated into an assistant editor gig when I was 19. And so I have
Okay. Got
been
it.
in magazines since I was 18 years old. I'm turning 50 in October. So I
Wow.
have been, I've been a journalist for 30 years.
Wow. And so much has changed. I was actually just talking to Natalie Tisdale. She was on a CBS affiliate and broadcasting and writing. I feel like this is the day of media of something for whatever reason. I'm talking to different voices. Is that it's changed so much because of digital media, right? From when you obviously at 19, you were like in different magazines and publications, and congratulations to you, obviously, for those incredible moments. Do those incredible moments define who you are right now?
No, my work doesn't define me at all.
Okay,
Um,
good. Okay. Well, not good. Okay. I don't
Yeah,
know why
no,
I said good.
I don't take myself or my work too seriously. Um,
Okay.
my work is very therapeutic for me. I'm a very creative person. I like to tell stories. I like to tell other people's stories. I've told my own story, but like my work is basically like a form of medicine. I
Mm.
am bursting with ideas and bursting with information, and I feel compelled to share it. But it doesn't define who I am. Like my drive to connect with people and to have passion and purpose, like that, I think purpose and passion would define me, right? Like I have a very purpose-driven life.
I love that. Yeah. What I'm saying is that, yeah, it doesn't define, so I'll extract that, but more about, the direction or purpose, I think is what I'm trying to get to. So where you are right now in your life clearly would make sense of the journey that you've had or that you continue to have with this, of the creative process as creatives. And also, like I say, I connect to creatives. So that's, a reason, of course, why I would want to speak to you because I think that creatives just want to keep perpetuating forward to whatever is next for them. What's on your horizon for the next, for what you're doing? I mean, you wrote up, well, first of all, before I even get to that, your book, I guess we can put that into the book space.
Yeah, I mean, my book came out 4 years ago. It's called Your Fully Charged Life.
Right.
I was very proud to get a book deal with Penguin Random House. The paperback came out a year later. I got to do the Audible myself, which was really important. It sort of kind of was this full circle moment because I used to do voiceovers and voice acting and voice work. To
Oh,
be able to audition for
okay.
and get to do my own Audible was pretty cool. So yeah, so I'm very proud to be able to have written a book, and I do a lot of speaking and a lot of stuff tied to the book. I'm the editor-in-chief of Women's Day. I do a lot of television work. I've been on the Today Show for 20, 30 years. Um, and that again, my degree's in acting. So when people say, "Oh,
Right.
you're such a natural," I'm like, "Well, no, I have a degree in acting." Like,
Right. No,
I
I
love to
understand
be
that.
on stage. I love to be on camera. Like I
Yeah.
love the energy of that,
Wow.
and I always have.
Oh my God. Oh my God. You're so interesting to talk to. Okay. Like, where do I go with this? Okay. So let's go back to Mason Gross for a moment. Of course, at Rutgers. Did you, when you were a kid, were you like musical theaters, like all
Oh,
that
I can't
stuff?
sing.
Okay.
I can't sing at all.
Okay. All right. But like, where'd the theater thing come from?
So as a high school, middle school child, I did not do any kind of theater or any kind of stage work. I was an athlete. I was president of the class. I was also very troubled. So I was also struggling with an eating disorder. I was hospitalized 3 times. So I had tricky teen years.
Okay.
And theater wasn't a part of that.
Right.
I loved being the ability to be somebody else, the ability to perform. I love I mean I love performing. When I was in 5th grade, I won an award for excellence in acting, and that always was like very, very special to me. I still have the award.
I
Mr.
love that.
um, recognized like some innate talent in me. I definitely come alive with a camera, with a stage, with an audience. I love to perform.
Cool. So cool. Okay. So would you say that you sort of more, as I say, segued into the world of acting because you were going through, I want to touch upon if you're comfortable with this, talking about your eating disorder, because that was a way for you to escape. Would you say
Yeah.
so?
So I would say that the eating disorder was very numbing. I realize now that I'm an empath. I feel things ridiculously intensely.
I understand
And
that.
as a child, I didn't really understand how to process those big feelings. And it would be like, don't cry. Why are you so upset? Why are you so happy? Why are you so mad? My feelings were
Yeah.
always very, very big.
Yeah.
Um, and eventually I wound up becoming anorexic. And I can now reflect and say, okay, I was just quieting the chaos because I
Mm,
just didn't quite understand how to process and manage such very big emotions. After recovering and going through years and years of therapy and cognitive
sure.
behavioral therapy, I
Okay.
have a full toolkit, and I share a lot of those tools in your fully charged life. But
Yes, I
I
saw. Yeah.
understand now how to medicate with movement and connection and all of these different ways of processing big feelings.
Yeah, I noticed that in the book about we were talking about is that, but when you talk about like, an eating disorder, obviously segueing that to mental health. I mean, at that time, I mean, you're young, you're just turning 50, that was not really addressed, the mental health component, or was it addressed? I don't know.
I mean, it's funny. I went to therapy, but I don't know. I do think therapy failed me initially because it was so focused on the behavior and not
Hmm.
the motivation for the behavior. Um,
Okay.
and like an eating disorder is not about food and eating. It's about
Right.
so many other things.
Absolutely.
Um, and I feel so grateful to have dealt with that so young. It seems like somebody else's life to me now. I mean, I've
Sure.
been well for like 30 years.
Okay.
And now having like a teenage daughter and watching
Hmm.
her friends and teenage issues around food and body image, it's
Yes.
really
Yes.
triggering of like, oh my gosh, that's how hard it was. That's how awful it felt. Uh,
Hmm.
but I recovered when I understood that movement wasn't punishment, it was medicine. Food was fuel. And there, like, I mean, I just learned how to deal with my emotions.
I understand. Oh, I guess the question is, and I can ask this maybe in a personal way, because I actually too, when I was between sixth and seventh grade, I had an eating disorder. I was anorexic. I was trying to fit in socially, a lot of stress. Those. horrific, awful years of middle school. Do you think there was something specific going on in your life to share that, or it was just something that?
No, I mean, I had an awesome childhood. I had like really loving, supportive parents. My dad was my biggest cheerleader. I was an athlete.
Mm,
I had a great childhood.
right.
Um, I just, I mean, I am somebody who has big, giant, giant feelings. And I just couldn't, they weren't a comfortable fit for the world, right? It was
I
like,
understand that.
I mean, it happened, and to this day now, I'm proud of how deeply I feel. I see somebody cry and I'll burst into tears for you. I see you excited, and I am right there with you in like that moment
Amazing.
of elation. Like I feel that's why I was a good actress, um,
Yeah.
because I can like I
Yeah.
just feel it. Like I just know how people are feeling, and I can take it on.
Does anybody else in your family have that? Because I actually am aspects of being an empath as well. Just, and I think for me, it came out later. I don't know, like for whatever, not late. Maybe I always had that capacity, but I feel like it was expressed later for me personally. For yourself, like, was there anybody in your family that was like an empath that you think you?
No, and my friend Marianne, the medium, Marianne DeMarco, calls me a clairsentient. So there's
Okay.
almost like it's like I can read people's feelings almost to like in like such a deeply weird way that like I'm like, oh my God,
Mm,
like I really, really feel it. It's
I
probably
understand that.
beyond an empath.
Yeah.
I'm not aware of anyone in my family processing things that way.
Right, right,
Um,
right. Because sometimes it could be intergenerational, it could be whatever. So how do you, okay, so we'll talk about this, get into mental health. How do you ground yourself with that? How do you, go out in the world? Because that's a lot, you
Yeah.
know.
Well, I do have to protect my energy. So I often laugh because I'm like an introverted extrovert. Like you can put me in a room and I'm going to navigate it. And I'm going to be friendly and
Hmm.
I can be the life of the party. But
Yes.
I actually then will retreat, Irish exit, and protect my energy because I
I
can
understand.
only be crowd facing for so long before I have to like,
Hmm.
yeah,
No, I get that. Okay, so I'm going to backpedal on what I said at the beginning. You're not an energy, you are, you have the energetic persona as you give to the world. But I think like, I mean, maybe I'm the same way. So like you need your private space. You need to,
uh,
go off to do
yeah,
your own thing, and so forth. So I think that's kind of like how why I found you or found and clearly in the present find you so interesting because you wear so many different hats. You've had the experiences that you've had as a child, and then you are in this public space. How do you feel about being in that public space? Like, how did you, I mean, you obviously you say you like to be on stage. So going on a Today Show or a morning show or media, you're good because you have that acting ability to put it on. Do you want to
yeah.
talk on that a little bit?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I love television work because it's quick and immediate, but I often laugh like I'm fabulous on live television. I'm fabulous on camera. It took me a while to be good in person. Um, and like especially like I
I
can
love it.
remember my sister got married like 25 years ago and I gave the
Okay.
worst speech ever because if I'm like standing in front of an audience of like friends and family, I'm like
Hmm.
I kind of like shut down. But if
Sure.
you put a camera on me, and said go, I would be awesome.
No, no, but I understand that. Yeah. Why?
I don't fully know. I mean, I think it's just like, I think like if I can see people I love in the audience, the emotion is just too big
Ah,
and
yeah.
it just like I just shut down.
So interesting. So when people meet you, it's like they're meeting, or in the public world, they're meeting this version. I think, but look, we all have versions of ourselves,
Yeah.
of what we present, of what we don't present. That's why having a podcast is so cool when you can have these interesting conversations about people in their real time, real life,
Yeah.
of what they're really, are like. Do you think you'll ever go back to acting? You ever think you do
I
that?
weirdly do.
Really?
Yeah, like
Okay.
more, I definitely think I'll be on a stage again at some point.
Oh,
I do.
is that a hint of something happening?
No,
Okay. Really?
but I
I'm
do.
feeling it. Something.
Well, I hosted a reality show last year called My Perfect Day, and
Okay.
I just won a Silver Telly Award for acting,
Yes.
host, and producer.
Yes,
And
yes.
that kind of
Yes.
just lit this fire of maybe I was meant to be on television, on stage, acting. Like maybe
I love
that is
it.
the true path.
Okay. I feel like there's something brewing. Is that maybe my empath aspect of me? Like I'm
You know,
feeling
like so
something.
there's nothing brewing, but my cab light is
Okay.
on. I am like open and
Mm.
receptive to whatever new adventure awaits. Um, and I don't know what's next, but I definitely that has been a love of mine since I was a little girl.
I think that you should do it.
Yeah,
It's coming from the heart. Haha.
yeah.
It's I feel from my heart. I feel like, again, I was having this conversation with this media person before about your passion and why you land where you land. Look, I had vertigo and now I speak to pretty cool, amazing people out there. Do you have to, this is my question. Get it out, Helene. Do you think you have to go through crap to get where you need to be?
Mhm.
What do you think?
I'm drawn to people who have lived a lot of life.
Mm,
I just think there's so much compassion that comes with struggle. Um, every loss I've been through, every struggle I've triumphed over has made me a better person, a more compassionate person, a kinder person. Losing my dad to pancreatic cancer changed me in huge, huge ways. Losing my best friend when I was 16 changed me in so many ways. Like every hard thing I do makes me a more compassionate, grounded, kind human being. And I'm drawn to people who have that like wisdom of hard experience.
so would you say that you had, so, okay, how do I say this? So experiences of what you had are who you become?
I think they shape how you move through the world. I think
Okay.
there's a huge difference between somebody who realizes, like, when you lose someone you love, when you battle illness, you
Yes.
realize tomorrow is not promised. And I think that people are grounded in gratitude, their feet are on the ground, who truly realize today is all we actually have. Those are my people, right? Like savor every second because tomorrow is not promised. And I think once you go through hard stuff, you know how true that is. And I'm drawn to people who know how true that is.
I think that's why you're drawn to me.
Probably.
Because probably, yeah, going through vertigo was one of the most traumatizing experiences of my life. It's left me in a pretty cool, amazing place. But did I have to go through that? I'm not sure. I think that I too went to a medium at one point. I was told that I was supposed to speak to the world, and that was 5 years before all this happened after I lost my parents. So I understand what it feels like to lose. I lost both my parents 12 and 13 years ago, special people too. And I get it. And I feel like with gratitude, as you mentioned, and manifestation and kindness, that obviously seems to be a large part of your life.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, and I think gratitude is one of these weird things, right? Because gratitude is absolutely the secret sauce in life. I think people kind of think gratitude and having a gratitude practice is like a little woo woo. Okay, yogis with crystals in their pockets, they practice gratitude.
Yeah.
Or, okay, on Thanksgiving, I'm going to eat a turkey drumstick and I'm going to tell you what I'm grateful for.
Right, right.
And
I
so, like,
understand.
and I battled that too because I'm a journalist. So, right, like, I understood that the science of gratitude, it was one of the fundamental factors in happiness. But, like,
Sure.
how do I really do that and find that for myself without like keeping a journal and writing all these things down? And after my dad died, when my dad got diagnosed with pancreatic cancer in August and died in January. And I had
Right.
three small kids at the time. My kids were 4, 3, and 1. And it was really, really hard because my dad was like my favorite human. And very much like my biggest cheerleader and my champion and like my first call. So that was hard. And I started a practice while he was dying of finding the yay in every day. And it was this moment of like, okay, I'm going to document something that doesn't suck today because it feels pretty sucky. I'm going to put it on social media. I'm going to use the hashtag Operation Good Grief, and I'm going to challenge myself to pause to appreciate something that's not half bad. And that's really how my gratitude practice started, was by actively searching out something that wasn't horrible in a day that felt like was going to cave in on me. And it was very simple. It was like, okay, there's daffodils blooming at the end of my walk. Yay. Oh my gosh, I cannot believe this barista made cat foam latte to match my dress. Yay. It was like these
I
very simple
understand.
things.
I get it. I get it.
And by actively pursuing that on a daily basis for over the course of 2 years, I rewired my brain. So years and years later, I automatically see those good things. I automatically find the silver lining, and it's not really that hard. I mean, it's just the way my brain is now programmed. Um, I'm a diehard, relentless optimist because I've been practicing optimism and prioritizing positivity by virtue of being grounded in gratitude for the past 9 years.
Yes, 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 and yes. Me too. Yeah. Like, yeah, I understand that because prior to really practicing gratitude, meditation, kindness, it was like, I don't know if that's a little hoo-hoo, woo-woo for me,
Yeah.
100%. Like, how do I get my head into that? And really, for me, it's only been less than a year where I really feel like I'm practicing gratitude and the manifestation part of like what do I aspire, not like, oh, I want $1 million and like please deliver it. It's more about directing my life in a way of just feeling grateful for what I have. And I think for me it grounded me because I went through vertigo, and it went through like, well, I can only go up because I can't go down any further, because I didn't really truly want to be here much when I was dealing with that.
Yeah.
So like-minded people, community, and also how it spills over to my family members who now are more or less practicing, and you can see them doing it as well. And for you, of course, having this community that you started, because obviously you lost your dad, where, if you hadn't lost your dad, I don't
Mhm.
know, would you have started the community?
No, I mean, I remember being in chemo with my dad one day, and he was sort of remarking on how I had changed so dramatically from my childhood as this kind of like grumpy, angsty, miserable kid to somebody who really did have this fun filter and really live with optimism and joy, even when things were
Right.
hard.
Yeah.
And that's when I committed to writing my book. It was really like my dad was the spark for that. He was
Yeah.
always the spark for everything. He validated all of the creative pursuits and really was like, you got this. Yes, do it, do it, do it.
Yeah.
I mean, he would call me after every TV segment and be like, that was your best one yet. You're amazing.
Oh, I
I
love
mean, he was
that. I
just
love
like
that.
very, just
I love that.
supportive and encouraging. Uh,
Yeah.
and so
Yeah.
writing the book was absolutely, when he died, I got that proposal out. I signed with an agent. We shot the book and then we signed the book deal like not long after. Because I was very much determined, like the book is dedicated to him for Pop My Cardinal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and he's the reason that I was motivated to get that done.
So how should dad motivate you every day?
Yeah, I mean, he's a like that's it's funny. And I am definitely at a point in my life where I don't really need much validation. I self-validate, and I know that
Okay.
as long as I am passionate about what I'm doing,
Hmm.
everything's going to be okay.
Interesting. Interesting. Do you believe in spirituality? Do you believe that your dad's with you in the moment that we're having this conversation? Do you feel him? Do you feel
Yeah, no, I don't think
presence?
he would be bothered to listen to this. He's
Okay,
heard
all
me
good.
yap for, yeah, I think he's in there in the moments when I need him, but I don't
You
think he
make me.
needs to hear me yap, right?
You're great. Oh my God. No, meaning, come on, Megan. Like you feel your dad's like, obviously. Okay, I'm a big spiritual aspect. How do I say this? Blah, 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 I'm not even making sense. My life is very spiritual. Like I feel the presence of my parents just in my daily. I mean, obviously you do because you have a book. You're doing what you're doing. The yay. What? How do I say this? Your dad or is your mom still with you?
My mom is still alive, yeah.
Okay, so like, so you have your mom. So like, I think that when people pass, that they leave their mark within you. Would you
Oh
say
yeah.
so?
Oh sure. And if I want to feel my dad, I can ask, right? Like a cardinal will appear if I ask. But on a daily basis, I'm okay, right? Like I don't, I mean, he's got 11 grandchildren. He's got my other siblings and my mom. Like spend energy there, like,
I understand.
I'm
Yeah.
good.
Yeah,
Um,
no, no, it's
but if I
amazing.
need him, like I ask and I've got him right there.
So cool. I feel the same exact way. All right, what's the next trajectory besides going to be an actor? Anything on the horizon? What are you doing on your daily? You're working at
Um,
Women's Day. Like any
so
cool
I run
stuff
Women's
going?
Day.
Yeah. What's going
I
on there?
So I think the joy of the job there is getting to tell people stories. I really want this to feel like every woman's magazine. So the more readers reach out to me and show me their knitting project or the recipe they made from our pages, I want to share that. That's the most meaningful thing for me is to celebrate the women who read Women's Day. So
Right.
that's been really fun. I'll continue my work on the Today Show. Um, I am speaking and doing appearances. Like that's all fun. I've got a high school daughter who is starting to think about college and stuff. So like that's a lot of what's on my horizon
Yeah.
and
No,
is
no.
really
Yeah, you're busy. You're a busy person. And that's thank you for your time to hang out with me and stuff like that. And it's just when I was thinking about Women's Day and we were talking in the beginning about it, how it's changed, but I was really processing it before I came on. It's changed, but it hasn't changed. And I'll give you my spin. I feel like, back in, I looked it up, I had to know, go on AI, 1931, whatever. And it was about traditional family values and mom cooking and all this other stuff and women's issues and health issues. But it's not that different, really, as today of what's going on. Obviously, the diversity of family dynamics and structure. What do you think on that?
So when I took over Women's Day 5 years ago, I really set out to make it destination celebration. I wanted it to punctuate every day with moments of levity and light and joy. We want to give you easy recipes that your family will love. We want to give you excuses to put happy makers on the calendar. We want to celebrate women who have figured it out and love themselves. We want to tell stories that make you cry and then high five the world. That's
Okay.
really what Women's Day magazine is about. And unlike other titles, Women's Day really is still a print magazine at its core. Like,
Okay.
yes, we have a website, but it's really about getting this print product in your mailbox. Our subscribers love their magazine. They still dog ear the recipes. They tear out their favorite stories. Like, this is the old school print journalism at its finest.
Okay, I'll come on. You can interview me about my aspiration in my life and whatever. I'll hit you up on that another time. But yes, but yeah, but I think like I said, it's really about it's the same but so different. And I love your mantra of what it is. It's just and I think people still want that. They still want something printed. Yes?
My reader does. I mean, my reader truly does. Now, listen, does my 15-year-old daughter want a printed magazine?
Oh,
No.
geez.
Doesn't
Right.
even know what it is. But my
Right.
reader does. I mean, there's certainly a huge portion of the population that really still loves getting this printed magazine, wants something tangible. I mean, listen, when I'm cooking, I don't really want to open my phone and look at a recipe. Like, I want the printed page. I want to be able to like
Exactly.
hear it, put it in my binder so that the next time I want to make it, here it is.
I love it. Oh my
Um,
God. No, yes, yes. I think about my mom's cookbook and like, the stuff would be tattered and the page and there's something and clipped in. And I still think that I'm thinking about my Gen Z 27-year-old daughter who would like be into this. Like, maybe not your 14-year-old, but maybe my 27-year-old would want to clip
yeah,
a,
yeah.
a recipe. Well, you are amazing. You have so many different talents, abilities, but really to your core, you're just a cool person to talk to. So
Oh,
thank
thank you.
you. Thank you, New Jersey friend. And see you on the beach. And, if you're down in Long Branch, is that your beach? You're going to visit your mom? You're
Yeah,
going
I
to go
got to
down.
visit my mom. When I'm
Okay.
not on
Well,
a lacrosse field.
go are you. And then, and Steven's connection too,
Yeah, that's
right?
funny.
That is funny. Well, oh, Maybe it's not. Wait, I just lost my AirPod. Okay, I'm back. Anyway, well, enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Thank you for your time. We'll
Okay.
speak soon. And everybody, it's Meaghan Murphy. Just check her out. I'll see you
Thank
soon.
you.
Thank you, Meaghan. Have a great one. Bye,
Bye.
everybody. See you guys soon. Take care. Bye.